Hi, my name's Hallie, Iglehart, Austen, and I thought it would be really important to do a video about making altars, because altars are a way for anybody can express their creativity, and they're also a way of making space sacred. Now, my first altar was very, very simple. My partner had left the country and our relationship had ended, and I just couldn't sleep. I didn't know how to sleep. So I set up a little stool that I'd gotten, and I put on it a plant and a candle, and I started just sitting. I didn't know much about meditation then, but I decided to just sit in front of this little altar before I went to bed. And it really worked. It helped ground me and gave me a new ritual for this life transition. So fast forward almost 50 years later, and I've written a book about goddesses from all over the world, from all different cultures, and I've lived 5 more decades. A lot of people have given me gifts of goddesses, and I've accumulated a lot more, so my altars are much more complex. This one has evolved into being the Native American altar. A counseling client of mine made out of stone, and this same counseling client gave me this beautiful sphere made of stone. And then I did buy this myself, this bear, which used to have a little crystal up here, and she is Native American fetish and also made of stone. I bought her at an auction for $5. And this bear is I bought in the bottom of Canyon de Chelly, made by a Navajo. And what I also love about this one, since I grew up with horses, is that the way they make this pattern on the sculptures, they lay horse hairs across this, and then they fire it and make the different signs on the body of the bear. Also, I put here, I'm very proud of these pieces of colored corn that I grew, like the corn that a lot of Native Americans lived from, and it's so much more nutritious and hearty tasting than the regular corn that most of us grew up on. And these are some incredible pieces of beadwork. This is from the Huichol people in Mexico, and this is from the Embera in Panama, from a actually pretty remote tribe that I was blessed enough to be able to go visit. So that is the Native American altar, but it has evolved over the decades. And I also would love to share with you this scroll that Max Dashu made. She has also researched a lot of different goddesses. So she has the Egyptian goddess representing Africa. She has the Hebrew goddess Hokmah or Shekinah for the Hebrew. She has Kali for the Asian. She has Spider Grandmother for the Native Americas. She has the Great Mother of the West from the Taoist tradition for Asia. And she has the Sibyl from Europe with the labyrinth, and I love the labyrinth because I always have had labyrinths for the last 30 years where I've lived. So this is a scan of the world's goddesses, similar to my book, and I should show you my book. I'll go get a copy of the book and show it to you real quick. One of the reasons I initially wanted to do this video was to show the goddesses in my different altars, and many of them are in my book, The Heart of the Goddess. And on this altar, I have it open to my Yumi Oda's Green Gulch Green Taro because it's springtime right now. So this is what I call a working altar. So some of the altars in my house are what I might call theme altars, and some are working altars. So a working altar is an altar that you set up to make things happen, and make them happen on the practical plane, on the energy plane. And I have my book there because I think of the the goddess, the sacred feminine on the planet as what is going to bring healing to the planet. And everything I have here on this altar is people, creatures, also a little doggy that I'm very close to, and different movements that I want to bring healing to, or that I know are in need of healing right now. So whenever I look at this altar, I send healing thoughts, healing energies to those people or to those movements. So this is a working altar. You can set up a working altar to anything you want, to your health. If you want to have a child, you can do it that. For your work, a relationship, you can set up a working altar for anything and just place on that altar whatever really has zest for you in terms of that theme. And one simple way to start doing an altar is have something that represents each of the 5 elements. So that would be earth, so it can be a stone or a flower. Air, it can be a feather or incense. Water, it can be a shell or a bowl of water. Fire can be a crystal or a candle. And then space, which is the 5th element, or the ethers. And that can be, you can put something on your altar that to you represents space, like an empty frame or something, or just be aware of the space that holds all the different elements of your altar. So that's one way you can start. So this one's a combination of both a theme altar and a working altar. I was recently in Hawaii and I was able to buy these magnificent shells at a garage sale. So I was really thrilled. So I have them here with the Chinese goddess Guanyin, the goddess of compassion, who has in every hand she's holding one of the instruments that she uses to protect life. And since I've been working the last 20 years in ocean protection, I wanted to create an altar to show the ocean, these creatures of the ocean, protected by Guanyin. And I have a little magnet from All One Ocean, which is a nonprofit that I founded in 2010 to educate people about the dangers of plastics. And then my current project is a project protecting coral reefs, educating tourists how to behave around a Hawaiian community where there's a very popular coral reef. So this such an example of the wonders of the ocean, things that I've been fortunate enough to come across or that have been given me. This is what I call my household altar. This is the primary altar of the house, the one that changes the least. The others may change over time, but this one is, to me, the center of the house and holds the energy of the house and keeps the house healthy and sacred and the energy's flowing. Now, she was gifted to me 40 years ago. She's a contemporary version of the Minoan snake priestess, which is a culture that lived in the Mediterranean 3,500 years ago, 1,000 years of peace, with a lot of beauty, egalitarian culture, and I just love this culture so much. So it makes me happy to think that humans have this capacity to live in peace and in equality, as well as a very sophisticated culture. They had great art, they had running water, and my Qigong teacher's son handed me, when he was 2, somebody handed him this rattlesnake skin that was in the bushes after a class, and he turned to me and said, "Would you like this?" I said, "Yes, I would love it." Because the snakes are a symbol of rebirth and of altered states of wisdom. And these little dried poppies that someone who lived in my house had grown and then she gave to me, and some art that's similar to the Minoan art. And I have here a little ball of the earth, but it shows how much of the earth is water. So I have it here. She is protecting the earth. My Mary teaches Amachi, who's also known as the Hugging Saint, and she blesses so many people, and she also raises millions of dollars for humanitarian and environmental work. I have a stained glass window in my house that is her emblem, which I didn't know that when I got it, but it's all worked out perfectly. One of the blessings in this house this was written out for me by the late poet Diane DePrima. It's a Navajo blessing. House blessing. May it be delightful, my house. From my head, may it be delightful. To my feet, may it be delightful. Where I lie, may it be delightful. Above me, may it be delightful. All around me, may it be delightful. So you might want to put that blessing on your household altar. And then this is just kind of a fun little element. I found these and decided to hang it above her just to create more energy. Because she looks like she's chanting, she's praying. I think she's in trance. And maybe this is the messages that are coming to her and swirling down. You can open her up. So I put pictures of all my different teachers throughout the decades in there, as well as prayers. Now it's really important to make the everyday sacred. So I have in my kitchen altar. And the kitchen altar evolved in the mid-'80s when I was visiting the Hopi Indians. And I bought this Kachina doll, and she is the mother of all the Kachinas. And she's holding the corn, which is the food of life, and she's holding the water of life in her gourd. And you can see her body is shaped like a corn cob. And she's smiling because she's always welcoming people. So I've got her as the center of my kitchen altar. And the place where she has been living the last 15 years, she's lived here for so long that the wood is a totally different color from her sitting there for the last 15 years. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a very different color. Then I put the images of the pollinators, because this is about food, and the pollinators are so important in terms of our food, and they're so endangered right now. So here I have a hummingbird and a bee. That's both of these somebody gave me. And I have a little metal acorn, because where I live in Northern California, the Native Americans lived by the acorns, and I've done all I can to support the native oaks. And I found this coin somewhere in my house. I don't know where it is, maybe Sri Lanka, maybe Burma. Anyway, it's got some rice on it, so I put that there, again representing the food of life, and a couple little shells, because all life comes from the sea, right? This is Uma, who's the Nepalese counterpart of Parvati. And you can tell that she's more Himalayan, because she's got more of the Tibetan style, Himalayan style of jewelry, and they're just different qualities that I can see that are more Tibetan. And then some Americans I knew had lived in Nepal for about 30 years gave me this amazing stone, which is from the same area that she's from the Himalayas in Nepal. This is from the Kali Kandaki Gorge, and when you open it up, you see that it is this incredible fossil that is about 65 million years old. So I like having it there on the altar with Uma, because it's from the same part of the world that she's from. And also I figure the goddess is that old too. Well, I thought I'd show you my bedroom altar that I have over my bed, because I think it's really important. What energies do we want to invoke around our sleeping time, our dreaming time? So I have, first and foremost, I have the sleeping goddess of Malta, who's in my book, and she's from a culture in the Mediterranean where the people used for healing dream temples, and they were underground and in the shape of the goddess. And practitioners would come and sleep in these parts of the cave and what's called incubate a dream around their healing. And this is the statue of the goddess that's found there. And she's sleeping, interestingly enough, with her head, she's sleeping on the right side with her head in her palm. And this is exactly the same pose that the Tibetan yogis recommend for dream yoga, which is a very advanced state of dream work. So I have these wonderful dried leis from Hawaii over Tara, the Tibetan goddess of compassion, because I want her blessing me while I'm sleeping. And this heart mirror, which when the light that's on the ceiling is turned on, it reflects a heart on the ceiling, which is really fun. I didn't plan that, but that's what happened. And then this wonderful basket, again from the Embera indigenous tribe in Panama. And they were the most loving, happy people I have ever met. They were quite remote from, quote, civilization. So I like to bring their energies in. And sometime about 45 years ago, I bought this paperweight for myself with the moon over the ocean. And she's here to bless my dream. And then I also have these different stones and are important to me from the earth and from different people and different traditions. And also a Tibetan Buddhist Dakini practice that I've done off and on over the years. I like having her with me. And last but not least, this book that my parents gave me for my 50th birthday, which was 23 years ago, that I keep my dreams in. It's one of these covers that you can put in new books. And so I always have that with me for when I write down my dreams, because dreams are a really important practice for me. And I'll talk about that in another video, this great way I know for practicing dreams. So making sleep sacred, and no devices in your bedroom, of course, and maybe taking a little bit of time to meditate before you go to sleep, so that what comes to you in your sleep is deep and restful, and what comes to you in your dreams is the best guidance that you can receive. So this is another altar I have in my bedroom, and I realized that what it is kind of like a family altar through glass for different generations of my family. And first of all, we have this glass guanyin that I remember from being in a closet in my grandmother's house back in the 50s, and one of the arms is broken off, but I do know that's what she is. She is a guanyin, and I think she's so beautiful. The fact that she was stuck in the closet means that my grandmother liked her, but whoever took over the house after my grandmother died didn't care so much for her. But there she is from my grandmother, and then my mother gave me this wonderful glass sculpture of a woman with wings back in the 70s, and she sent it to me saying, "Happy Winter Solstice, Hallie Mountain Wing," and that was just so wonderful because she was acknowledging and honoring my celebrating the solstices and equinoxes as the cycles of the year. And also I used the name Hallie Mountain Wing back in the 70s when I was teaching and writing. So she was acknowledging and honoring that part of myself, so that really meant a lot to me. And then my niece, Jamie, so the third generation, so we have grandmother and mother, and then, well, this is actually 4 generations, and then my niece gave me this beautiful crystal ball, and I also have here in a little crystal pendant one of the hundreds of 4-leaf clovers that Jamie, my niece, has found. This one's quite old now. Jamie has an incredible, miraculous ability to find 4-leaf clovers, hundreds at a time. When she walks on my family's farm in Maryland, where I've maybe seen 1 4-leaf clover in my entire 73 years, she finds like 10 or 20 in every walk. So we have 4 generations right here, and again, I just put these glass figures together, and then I realized, oh my gosh, that's 4 generations of my family right there. And this beautiful scarf, my dear friends Marcelina, who's filming this, and Marilee, who's about to give birth tomorrow, who I call my heart daughter. Jamie, my niece, is my spirit child, and Marilee is my heart daughter. They gave me this when they were visiting me in Hawaii. So we all have family that are our heart family as well as our blood family. We also have our spirit family. So I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful time creating your altars. The other thing about altars is to keep them fresh. If you notice your altar's got dust on it, it's really important to take a look at it, see if there's some things that maybe need removing, things that are current, because if you want the energy to keep flowing through, and if everything feels fine just the way it is, that's great. But you do want to keep your awareness of the altar alive, to keep the altar alive. So have a wonderful time.